Yeah. So that's not really a serious courtship, and I'd say it's also because the lady is not being upfront, because there's no way you've been in a courtship for 2-3 years and you're not asking questions. Already, that's not a courtship. That is already a marriage, but it's a come and stay. It's a come and stay marriage. So you might as well. The only thing that has not happened is this person has just not taken dowry or met your people. So I think it's something that we need to teach our girls, our ladies. If you value yourself enough, you're not going to stay with someone who's not committing to you.
Definitely.
So commitment is something that a man decides, because also they see how sometimes as a lady you have to be nagging, you have to push, because sometimes there's a saying that they say, why should I buy milk when I own a cow, or how does it go?
Something like that.
Yes, why should I buy a cow when I'm getting milk? You know. So if you have to make them understand that for you to get this milk, you need to own this cow. You know. So there's a role that a man has to play, and then it gets to a level where now this lady has to now start demanding, and you have to know what you want.
Yes.
And if you know what you want, if it gets to a point where this man is not delivering, then there's no point of wasting your time, because women have a shelf life.
Yes.
You know, men don't have an expiry date. So if this person is dating you, 6 months to 1 year is enough for you to know someone enough.
Sure.
Especially if you spend enough time, you'll be able to know their values, what they stand for, what vision do they have for you as their spouse, and where they, you know, you'll find that in just the general talks that you have, he puts in a word in terms of kids. I'd want our kids to go to a certain school. I'd want our kids, you know, when someone talks in that sense, this is someone who's futuristic. Already started planning things. Okay? So now you need to now know 6 months we are now 6 months in this courtship. What is, you know, just try and figure out, is this person serious about this thing? And if it's a man who really knows what he wants, and he doesn't want to lose you, the moment he starts noticing that you want now to know where direction is going, he's going to do something about it. So it's very, very important. I think 6 months to 1 year should be enough, for you to know him, and for him to know you, and know your people, and know his people, and then from there you make a decision. Because at the end of the day, in the courtship also, you'll never know someone completely.
Definitely.
The moment you move in, and then you get the first kid and the second kid, you start noticing some other things about this person. But the moment you're in courtship, you've made a decision that whatever I'm going to handle whatever this person is giving me, because no one is 100% perfect.
Exactly.
So 80% is good. This 20% we can work on. But it's only bad when now 80% is bad and 20% is good. That will never work for you. So look at there's the positive aspect of it. The negativity, don't let the negativity outweigh the positive. As long as the positive is more, there are things that are negative that can be worked on, but also there are negative things that cannot be worked on. So you decide what works for you and what does not work for you.
Exactly.
Okay. And then also look at the commitment that this man is putting in, where he's coming from. Also, it's very important to know the people's backgrounds. Because you know, there are also family cases where you'll be in a relationship and this person, for them, they don't really care. No, so that's why background information is very, very key.
I think this brings me to a very interesting story. Just recently, I was watching Helen being interviewed by Ikonini. Ikonini was interviewing him right there, and Helen came out clearly to address the relationship between Esther Arunga and Quincy. So he has said for so long people have been against him, have been backstabbing, bashing him, telling him that he's the one that led to this marriage and all that. So he came out clearly and said that this Quincy guy, they used to study in primary. I don't know the name of the school that they were in, but he didn't mention. But he was saying about how these people met, how these people did this and this. So Quincy could make Esther Arunga feel like they are rich, things are fine at their home. He has grown in a very good setup and all that. So that could higher the expectation of this woman. So the expectations of this woman, she was so much obsessed. I think this for her it was obsession, maybe not love. So this guy promised her heaven, but then I think they went wrong just on the courtship part, and then that is what led to what they are, where they are now. I think
what Alan was just before Marvo talks, something very, very important and something that people have to really
and then she really ignored her parents.
Yes. Actually, you know, their marriage never had any blessings from the parents, and that's why it could not work. And at the end of the day, there's no way to run. There's no way to run to. So what I wanted to say is that part of expectation. You know, at the end of the day, what makes relationships work or what makes relationships fail is when expectations are too high and then they are not met. The unmet expectations are what make relationships fail, because someone overpromised and then they are not delivered. It's like let's say the government during campaign, they tell you this, they tell you they'll deliver this, and then at the end of the day, when now they are in power, they can't even deliver a quarter of what they promised. You know, you'll have to feel disappointed, you'll feel cheated, and at the end of the day, maybe your two legs are deep in, there's nothing else you can do. So kindly, guys, if you're in a courtship, kindly don't put expectations that you know you cannot meet. Just be real. Let that person know you for who you are, and you'll never have trouble trying to live a life that does not exist. You'll not live a double life. You'll not struggle. You know, a lot of people are going through depression because I promised this and I'm not able to deliver. Now what do I do?
Promising a heaven that you cannot deliver.
So I have either to steal, I have to take loans, I have to do crazy things just to make this person happy. But for how long can you sustain this?
Sure.
Yes, Marvo,
you know, if you want to know somebody so well, the first thing that you need to get to do is make sure you know their people. Make sure you know their people, because you know their people are the ones who know them so well, in a way that this person can no longer lie to you that they have this, they have that, and then make sure that you spend more time together. Spend more time together, because when you're going for dates, when you're going for, you know, this person will be spending, is the one maybe will get to spend a lot, and then it will reach a point whereby maybe he will get exhausted, maybe his finances will get exhausted, and so it's something that you'll get to learn whether this person is real or fake. And then there is a question that I think I wanted to, this question I'll pose it to Hillary, and I want to look it at a religion perspective. Like, for example, things like sleepovers. When people, for example, their religion bars them from maybe sleeping together, or such kind of stuff before marriage. You know, so many...
Fornication.
Fornication, exactly. So, how do you handle a situation whereby people are now in a courtship, and then maybe they come for a sleepover? How long do you think that these people should spend more time or go for sleepovers before getting married? And how bad is it when these people, because at the end of the day, I know people do it. It
happens.
It happens.
It happens.
I think it's just more of it's more of morality. It's a personal thing. No, these are grown-ups. These are people who are over 18. You can't really dictate for them. You are not them, you're not in their feelings. So it depends on the morals that people have. It depends on your background. It depends, and most importantly, it depends on your conscience. If your conscience allows you to, because you know, it's like if you kill people, the more you kill, it gets to a point where now you no longer feel you'll sleep well, you'll still sleep well at night, and your conscience is never affected. So the more you do that, the more it gets to a point where you don't even feel it anymore. So for me, I'd really advise that people just look at follow your conscience. What is your conscience telling you? Do you think that is the moral thing to do? Because we are not here to tell people what to do and what not to do. It is now you, how you grew up, the morals you grew around, and what works for you. And that, do you have that personal relationship with your God, whereby, you know, even if I'm hiding, he's watching. You know, there are people who don't have that, and you cannot force that on them. So that is not a topic that I'll dictate and say it has to be done a certain way or done a certain way, because I know that people, you know, grown-ups, the funny thing with grown-ups, they'll always have an answer to justify what they want. They'll tell you, they'll just tell you, you know, it was a road test. You know, sometimes before you buy a car, you have to know the mileage, and, you know. So grown-ups are able to justify anything to fit into their perspective and how they want. But do you think that's the right thing to do? No.
Actually, talking about that, you know, there are those people who maybe, let's say, they haven't dated for a while, but they feel like they want to graduate it to the next level, like courtship, and they are like, you know, when you talked about when you've decided to make a move and you're like, now you want to settle down, it doesn't have to be longer, for a longer period. That's why it is always advised. It is always not to be too long, because the temptations are always.
And you're humans.
Yes, we are humans. So that's why it is always advised. Like when you talked about on a Christian perspective. So you have this person and you're like, now you want to take the next move. It shouldn't be that long. Make sure you try and make it as fast as possible, as soon as you can, so that you may not you avoid the temptation. Yes, it is better that way.
You know, I've heard of stories whereby a woman runs away on the first honeymoon night, because she feels like
she couldn't handle it,
or she felt like the performance is too low and all that, so she feels like that's part of what has made so many people do the road test.
Actually, you see what you are talking about is always, that's why people go for premarital counseling. When you get to premarital counseling, those are the things that they deal with, and they are very, very open. They are very open with you, and they will tell you, they will not hide anything. There are no gray areas. If it is black, it is black. If it is white, it is white. That's why it is always important to go for this premarital counseling before you get into this thing. It is always important, because they will ask you those kind of questions. They will ask you, so that at the end of the day, when such things happen, you are aware, and you know how to handle it. Yes. So
and I think that's a very good angle that Manu has brought in. I think going for premarital counseling, I think we need to find another name for it, because a lot of times people call it premarital counseling because it's done before a wedding. There are people who will not go for a wedding. There are people who will just want to do a traditional one. So I think it's something that should be introduced even to people who want to do that. It's something that we need to have maybe centers where now people talk about premarital experiences and what they expect. Because at the end of the day, what Alano is saying is expectation not being met. But when you go through this kind of counseling, and that's why for us it's very un-African most of the time when people talk of therapy, but it is very, very, very important, because nothing is more powerful than having information, being knowledgeable. So when something happens, you won't be shocked. You know, you'll be like, okay, I expected this, now I know how to handle it. So with that comes that part of knowing how to maneuver and find your way around it, so that you don't end up blaming the other person, because it's very easy for us to find fault in the other person, and we never really look at ourselves. We're always looking at the other person, while you know it's one finger pointing that direction, but four are pointing at you.
Exactly. On that again, when we talk about expectations, one thing I really like to advise our ladies, lower your expectations so that you may not be disappointed. Believe me, it will always work for you. Once you lower your expectation, things will just be happening and you'll be like, wow, you know. You start getting, you will start to begin to get amazed at how things will be happening. Why? Because
let things flow.
You just let things flow. Believe me, you will not be disappointed. You will not.
And it's true. You see that part of expectation. And right now are looking into material so much. I think people need to look at, if you have that man, you need to look at them from a point of, do they have potential? People should look more into potential rather than what they have. And that's why there are those women who are winning, because they look at you and they know this person in the next right now is not doing exactly how he's, but in the next 5 years, the way he speaks, the vision that he has, I think I'm going to be a helper for this person to get to that vision. So if you are looking for that person you want to live with for the rest of your living life, you want a spouse, lower your expectation. So I'm not saying lower your expectation for you to just now end up with someone who is passionless. That's why I said it's important that you look at the person's potential. This person talks. Ambition. He talks and he walks his talk. The things that he does, you're able to see, okay, right now these things are not really working now, but in the next few years
there's a brighter future.
There's a bright future.
Exactly.
Marvo, I think you're asking something about religion or something.
No, in fact you've answered. You've covered what I was asking. Okay. So I think I'm good. I'm okay with the answer that you've given.
Okay.
Actually, for me, I've seen some people coming from different religions, and now when it comes to, like, let's say for instance, I'm a Christian, and then on the other side there is a Muslim or any other religion, and these people, they are falling in love, and they're like, man, we need to do something about it. And I've realized that it's been very, very hard, especially when those two people want to come together. And I've seen some people, they have had to cross over
to convert.
To convert. So I don't know what is your take about that.
It is actually very important for you to practice the same faith. So I think those people who are so much in love to a point where they are crossing over, they're doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, you want to raise your kids not in a confused household. And as a man or the father, in Christianity we say you're the high priest. So you're supposed to lead your house into spirituality. And then the woman, women are very vulnerable, and women are more spiritual than men. So if they're more spiritual than us, because we are not, men try to very hard not to be vulnerable. And someone who's not vulnerable, it's very difficult for them to be fully spiritual. That's why you see a lot of ladies are convinced. But there are those people who are so easy for them to get to God, because they are so easy to open up and just drop everything and drop all their weaknesses, and God will look at them and say, okay. And it's very easy now when you have a prayerful woman for them to bring you up to speed with God. That's why it's important, if you practice the same faith, it's easier, because now when you raise your children in your house, your children are able to see how you relate to one another. You take, if you're going to, let's say, if you guys are Muslims, they're able to do the madrasas and all that. There's no contradiction at all. If you're Christians, it's okay, they go to Sunday school, you're practicing the same faith. There's no contradiction at all.
There's no confusion
at all. So it becomes very easy, because you are at the same, you're actually on the same spirit, on the same level. It makes parenting very easy because nurturing is from the mother and leadership is from the father.
Exactly.
If you are the head and the neck supports you, the neck, the woman is the neck, she's supporting you, so if your head is always turning on this other side and the neck, it's the neck that turns the head. It's not the head that turns the neck. So that's why it's important that the head and the neck agree. It will make things very easy. But if the neck and head do not agree, there's going to be what do we call it? Conflicts all the time. And conflicts, whenever there are conflicts in the house, it emotionally affects your kids growing up. So they're going to have a lot of issues. They're not going to be emotionally, there's also emotional intelligence, mostly in kids, happens because of the upbringing, the environment that they grew up in. They're able to practice love and vulnerability because they saw it in their parents. They never saw their parents raising their voices or fighting. So they grow up knowing that this is how people live. If kids grow up in an abusive relationship, and abusive doesn't have to be physical. Sometimes there's that abusive where it's just emotions. Sometimes you're not even abusive in terms of talking. Sometimes just the cold treatment that you give your wife. Kids are very sensitive. They're able to tell all that. So when they grow up, they know, if I am a girl, if I'm treated in a certain, if my dad used to treat my mom this way, I know this is the way a man should treat me. If I saw my dad hitting my mom and it was fine, if my man hits me, I think it's fine. So I'll just be like, okay, that's normal. So what is normal to us mostly is because of how we were brought up and the things that we saw. And that's why now when two people come together, we are normally very different, and that's why courtship is very important, because this person has been brought up in a different environment. They have different values, different morals. You the same. That is when now when you come together, you're able now to see what works for us and what does not work for us. So that when these two families come together, I still appreciate how you guys were brought up. It's not a problem. This is how we were brought up. So I'm not saying that how you were brought up was wrong or how you were brought up was right. And this is something people really need to understand, because a lot of people try to make it look like we were brought up right and you're not brought up wrong. So it's a matter of, let me learn from you and you also learn from me. Be very receptive of what I say, and I also need to be very, very receptive in what you're saying. That way now we have a community.
Need to be accommodative.
We need to be accommodative. The moment you accommodate each other, the issue of tribe, race, religion never comes in, because I'm happy to celebrate our difference, because you get identity from the culture that you come from. If you're Luo, you have your culture. I need to appreciate that. If you're Kikuyu, you have your culture. You've been, generations and generations have come forth from that. So we need to appreciate that. And the moment we appreciate and celebrate differences, we have a beautiful society. What do you guys think of that?
Wonderful.
That's amazing.
So I think we are almost winding up. I
think bottom line of this matter is that what matters a lot is working together in one faith. That's the most important thing.
To add on that, even the Bible says in the book of Amos, two cannot work together unless they agree.
Unless they agree.
Unless they agree. That's the bottom line. Unless they agree.
Alano, you have a closing
shooting shot.
Think we are good. Mine is just to tell you guys, just lower your expectations. That's all.
Thank you so much, guys. Again, this is your program, Family Dynamics. That is brought to you by
TKB.
And we always say TKB stands for
the Kadala Brothers.
And we are all about
family,
love,
life,
and music.
Thank you, guys.
See you again.
Asante sana.
Asante.